and it says we have gone live. I never can. I should go back and like listen and see like how instantaneous that really is. It's the whole reason I do this whole starter thing is because I have no idea what's going on.
We've got sound.
This is really weird. It's saying that there's nobody watching according
I'm
to my thing.
here.
I know. Should be at least one or two, right? All right, let's hit this. Let's go to the squishy thing. All right, it's time. Let's go. Okay, so if you go to my website and you go to tutorials and you hit all the tutorials, you will see pinned at the top is the pattern for the bag that we're working on now. In there, you can see where I made the pattern to it. You can see the inspiration for it. You can actually click on this pattern to actually get the PDF that we are actually working from. All that stuff's there, as well as links to the previous live stream. And yeah, we started with these kumis that were made by my wife. It's not necessary to be a kumi, but we did it because they're nice and they look cool. And then here you can see that this was the progress that we made from last week. It turned out pretty cool, but this week we're going to actually get them all joined together and get the cylinder started. So that should be a lot of fun. So yeah, let's roll that intro. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and we are back with this cool thing. Let me hit this. We are going to connect all of the segments that we put together last week, and I'm really excited about it because my intention is I want to get this into a cylinder so we can have fun with making another little video to make for the beginning of this thing. So. Thank you, Rainbow. So wait, before we get into making all of this, let me first remind everybody that we still have a secret word game. I have been trying to give you guys hints. Like, come on. I really want somebody to win this thing. All right? So let's try, people. All right, and tonight I am joined by my lovely wife, Mandy. And yeah, we got lots to talk about. Oh man, so many crazy things going on. It's been absolutely bizarre. Maybe I should move this just a little bit over. How's that? All right, so first thing first, I gotta figure out how this thing joins together, and I kind of got it set up a little bit ready, but so it's just 3 of these light colored ones. Actually, I can show you guys. Let's see, is this the... Yeah, so there's you can see the pattern now. I just realized there's something with one of our two's cameras that's unusual. I think Mandy's white balance is way off. I doubt that she can actually fix that, to be honest. But
I can. Well, not now.
yeah, that's kind of what I meant.
But that's the white balance that's closest to reality.
Yeah, but it's
That's
making your
bigger.
shirt look blue versus mine looks not blue.
That's probably just because of my background.
I don't know. Hey, we have the 8 ball. I was supposed to remember to hit the activate button and forgot all about it. But he seems to have woken up all by himself, so yay. So the reason I'm disappointed that Mandy's camera is not matching the colors is I can show you. I think, is it this one? Oh, maybe I didn't put a thing to it. Hang on. Where is. Did I not hook that up? Oh, you guys can't see it now. I've been working on the. Oh, I know how I can do this. Never mind. Wait, hang on. I've got stuff for you guys. But unfortunately, I didn't do one of the things. Hang on. Go back to here. That one. That's kind of weird. Hang on. I gotta stretch that just a little bit. All right. There. Check that out. This was that was yesterday. We were out hanging out and doing stuff. And then the day before that, that was us. So we've been doing the matchy thing for a little bit now and looking cute and having fun. And yeah, so apparently I didn't. Oh, I know what I could have used. So hang on. If I take this, put this back where I originally had it, I guess I could have gone to this screen. So, oh, but that makes it the other weird camera. So yeah. But yes, we've been being very, very cute here lately. And I wanted to show you guys. And the fact that we're actually being cute today, but you guys can't tell. It's really sad. So I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but I've had some recent very, very ADHD moments where basically I went the entire day without eating because I was all excited about patterns and making cool stuff and doing things. And let's face it, that's not good, right? Um, and then I had another ADHD moment. What 2 days ago on Thursday, Mandy and I were going to go out. There, it was a computer show, or computers and electronics and all that kind of stuff show going on here, and got all excited about it. So excited that I didn't take my morning meds. So okay, I get home, I take a look, and I remember that one of those morning meds is something for my heart. And so I got suddenly like very concerned about the fact that I didn't take those morning meds and said, oh, you know what? That's okay. I'll just take them now. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? So I took all my morning meds. I didn't like go through it and try to figure out what all I take. I just, if it's something from the morning, I just went ahead and took it and was off to bed. And I ended up not sleeping very well. Didn't know quite what was up with that. Turns out I took my Ritalin at night, right before bed. And if you think that sounds like a bad idea, you have no idea. I have a heart problem. And my heart did not like to have something to help get me going right before bed. And so about 6 o'clock in the morning or so is pretty much, my watch isn't the same as my old one. But my watch pretty much indicated that sometime in the early morning hours, my heart went back into the whole AFib thing where my heart rate goes really high and everything goes kind of wonky. So yeah, that was not cool. Yeah. So then we go off and we go to see my shrink, the same one who gives me those meds. Go see her. And I mentioned to her that I've had a couple ADHD moments and that, kind of whoopsie doodles, but, everything's going pretty cool and that I'm still being productive and I'm still being creative. And she said, how are you sleeping? I'm, well, not really great, but, it's okay because I'm still getting things done. No big deal. Um, and then she like turns to Mandy. She goes, okay, hang on. Mandy, how long has he been like this? Mandy's like, well, I have noticed that he's been a bit like this for at least a couple weeks now. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, so what? Big deal. A couple weeks of me being kind of whatever. That's not a big deal. And she's like, do you not see it? Uh-huh. She's like, you don't even let me finish questions before you start interrupting. Um, you're having manic issues. And this hit me like a truck. I couldn't believe that was a thing. Like before, she questioned if I even had the whole manic depression thing. And then yesterday she's like, yeah, you're doing the manic thing there. And I think the reason it really hurts me the most, why this really affected me so deeply is, and I tried to explain this to Mandy earlier today, it feels like being an Olympian who just found out from, that your coach has been doping you, because I have been very, very creative lately. I've been having fun. I've been making new things and trying out new techniques and just going at it. And like I said, despite the lack of sleep and anything else, I have been doing pretty good. And then I find out that it is something that is completely unsustainable. It can lead to something very, very bad because when it crashes, um, I am not good. I am like absolutely far from good. Um, and so yeah, the whole thing just the out of my mouth like no, I did not want it to be this. Of anything, I did not want this to be a thing. So I'm now going to be changing meds and doing, I don't know. I don't know. It's all very, very new, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck's. So yeah. Yeah, in fact, last night I slept for about 12 hours. Um, the meds that I'm on just absolutely wipe me out. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So that's what's partly been going on with me. A little bit crazy. Oh, and I also went to great lengths. So OBS is all brand new here. Um, it's going to feel probably a little bit wonky as we kind of get used to it. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the meds that if they do affect any of that or not. Don't I do know that it that they make me super sleepy. I know my meds, the one that is for the whole manic depression thing, does make me super super sleepy. Other than that, I don't know what's going to happen. It's like I said, it was such a I didn't want it to be that anything. I really honestly thought that I was getting into a groove where my creativity levels were really really good, and that I'm you know kind of looking back at some of my old videos and how much better I'm doing, and I thought it was all about practice and skills. And oh, speaking of, man, hang on, doing all kinds of stupid rookie stuffs. I look up and I see that my on the air light isn't even going. So yeah, I don't know. It all feels kind of weird at the moment. So I'm just happy that the whole AFib thing has finally stopped being a thing, because yeah, that's kind of a thing too. So when my heart goes into that state, um, it is absolutely exhausting. Like just sitting at the computer, just doing anything is exhausting. My blood pressure dropped to like the lowest I've ever seen it. So yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm kind of glad that that kind of stopped being a thing, because that's super important. Yeah. Well, we've joked with her in the past. So I've only had the AFib thing happen to me like three times, and out of the three times, two of them have happened right before going to see her. The very first time was that, then I had like a relapse, and then it happened again going to see her. So yeah, doctor's like, yeah, it's because I'm pretty. I'm not gonna argue. Sure, why not? Oh, but because of having gone to the it's called comics. I don't know. It sounds like comic, but it's not. It's commercial electronics or something, I guess. Anyways, from going there, we saw some devices that were very inspiring. And then we came home to do the research to find out like the one device I was actually looking at was cool, totally cheapy plastic, ran on regular batteries as opposed to anything rechargeable or, you know, anything cool. Um, and it lacks some of the features of what we discovered later on are the more advanced versions. And so, yeah, we might actually be getting some new hardware to make some of the stuff that I do around here even cooler yet. So yeah, that's kind of exciting. I'm excited. Some of it will probably affect more for the YouTube members than say necessarily the live streams here, I think. Um, we'll have to see how it goes. I don't know. Everything is subject to change and subject to being tested out and seeing what comes of all these things. So yeah. No, I don't have any anxiety about going to see my shrink. My shrink is a very nice person. We met her back when we were first dealing with Dad and his issues, and then somehow I got um, to where like basically that she became my doctor instead of in, instead of trying to figure out how to deal with him. It was like, yeah, well, you know, you might have some issues, don't you? It was kind of funny. I kind of remember, like, she made a comment like, so who's the family jokester? Like, duh. Like, uh-huh. Yeah. Kind of like a, um, do we have something here of where maybe, you know, you're masking your own problem kind of like, yeah. So yeah, now we're starting to get into parts of this pattern where the complexity here is getting a bit much. Ah, I think I'm just going to kind of stick to little areas at a time and get it all kind of together and like try to work on bits so as to maybe not get myself confused. Although I don't know how to not get confused with this. I do think that there is a little bit of an element of, but it's not like so much like, say, that doctor's appointment. I do have a problem with a thing where, like, if there's anything going on in a day, whether it's my day off or anything else, can 100% affect how I sleep and how I, you know, everything, just everything. Um, there's this whole feeling like I'll mess up and not be on time, or I don't know. There's just elements that anytime the schedule kind of breaks into something else, I'm kind of a mess. Um, and I think I've been like that most of my life, even when it came to like back when, you know, holding down a job and stuff. I had to go to bed extra early. I had to have everything set just so, um, because otherwise I would be just mentally a mess. So yeah, crazy stuff, man. But I think that's got to do with ADHD and a bit of the whole being time blind. So like to compensate for it, I overcompensate, if that makes sense.
Ed, 24 minutes in.
Oh, really? I'm not on the screen where it tells me that some people are getting ads or anything, so I have no idea. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Yeah, in fact, actually, it wasn't until a little bit ago here I even noticed that I totally messed up when it came to scheduling tonight's live stream. It was I when I went through the whole thing, I didn't set the time and day properly, and so this stream was scheduled for like um, last Sunday morning, like shortly after the other stream ended. So yeah, it was pretty weird. Okay, so as complicated as this is, I have to say I like the looks of it so far. It's very, I don't know, just all the little zigzaggy bits. This is kind of a lot like the wall hanging I did, just different. Yeah, the wall hanging just had two colors, whereas this has three. But this middle part here is a lot like it. Well, they all basically stemmed from an original inspiration, and I was trying out different segments that I thought were kind of interesting, so that's why. But that's about as far as I'm going to take this for now. To kind of keep track of like on where I am and not get too crazy on whatever. And we're going to join in another segment. So I can put all of this stuff off to the side. So we were up to 6 people. We're back to 5, or no? We have 6 people, but there was 7? No. 5 people watching, there were 6. Okay. I don't know. Weird graphs and numbers all over the place over there. I can't tell. But hello, everybody. I'm sorry if my earlier rant, I had to get that out. It's like I said, it it kind of feels like manic me is not real me, and that guy's been at the helm for just a little bit too long and shouldn't have been at the helm at all. And Minute Craft has made it. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wait, Minute Craft has graduated from the yellow to the orange. She hasn't gotten up to the pink yet, but she's gone up a
Mm.
level already.
Like when there's more than one color, it makes it fun.
Yeah, it does make it fun. We need more people to join. Actually, I can't wait for some more people to join because the way that it's currently set up, where the YouTubers are coming across the bottom, um, I kind of can't make it longer without making everybody rocket across. So now I'm going to have to like start stacking them up so they're going to go across like fish. You know, it's yeah, it should be kind of interesting. Like it's the only way I can describe it, right? Because like when the patron thing happens, the patron names go up, and then the other one comes across, and because it seems that there's more people joining onto the YouTube in order to make it kind of balance out. I have to do something. I don't know. We also have our babies in the other room, honey. Our pets. Okay, that's really weird. Hang on, let me take a look at my settings. Do 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 do. No, it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be stereo.
Hi, Mandy. Hi. Hello.
I can't tell. Wait. Oh, I do see something. Why is that? I do seem to be in one channel. Why? I honestly don't understand why it's that way. It doesn't, there's nothing here. Hang on, we're going to lose picture for a second while I go take a look at this. Hang on. Do, 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 do. Right. I don't see why it's doing it. Like I said, I spent Wednesday spending the whole day rebuilding OBS because now the way I have it set up, if I bought a laptop, I could just have all my settings transfer over because all the settings, everything about it is all backed up. So I went to great lengths trying to get this thing all together. I don't I don't see anywhere where there's... I don't understand it. Yeah. Could Phil be one of the people lurking? I don't know. It's been so long since we've heard from Phil. I have left serious messages saying, just let us know you're okay, to which nothing has come back. Yeah, this whole joining thing here is definitely proving to be a bit of a workout. It's so easy to mistake one area for another because the pattern has so many interesting overlappy bits. So one of the bonuses is similar to the last bag we did. Every single time the white comes down and makes contact with this other color, it changes direction. So as long as I kind of always make sure that I stick to that rule, I should pretty much stay on course. At least that's the way it would appear. Oh, did you guys see? I did a Instagram post with my shoes. Mandy made uh shoelaces for me, custom shoelaces. My shoes are black and white, so she used black and white strings, and they're Doc Martens, so she used just a little bit of yellow as an accent in it. And then we added my right shoe says AKA and my left shoe says AWOL. It is the coolest thing. I don't know if anybody else will notice. I know darn well if I was on a train or something and somebody else had something like that going on with their shoes, I would 100% notice. I'd be like, wait a minute. Ooh. So macrame is a super crazy broad term that just basically means tying a bunch of knots in succession to create whatever. Um, and then of course, kumi is falls into the whole braiding thing. Hang on, I grab an extra string in there.
He makes funny sounds.
I didn't put my needle back where when I was done, and I never do that. I don't know why or what I was taking apart before. Nah, I better take that out. Looks kind of sloppy. Hey, just string things made it. Hello. I've been getting pretty good at putting things back where they go, which has been actually incredibly useful. So, yay. But then when I don't do it, I like freak out because, you know. Whoa, minute craft went all caps. Wait, did she? I
Uh-huh.
don't. I recall hearing no such thing.
She went through the whole list of site, like what not to do when you were so busy looking at the operate heavy machinery
Oh, right.
that you
The
glazed
only,
over
the
the
only,
alcohol
the
bit.
only, the only thing I remember of the whole thing is the heavy machinery, and might get constipated. That's all I remember. I do not recall anything about alcohol. In fact, I think you're making that up.
I'm not the one with selective memory loss.
It's what do they call that when when your brain tries to protect you? So like, if there was something traumatic and it didn't want to hear that, so like it just blocks that out entirely so that way, you can carry on with life without being traumatized and scared. That's it. That's what it was.
Self-defense.
Yeah. Wait, did she say why I'm not supposed to drink?
The meds.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, like, sometimes it's because it can. So here's a fun one, kids. Certain medications will actually intensify the effects of things like alcohol. So one shot suddenly feels more like five, which we call this cheap date. Yes. I will almost guarantee the medication that I'm taking makes me groggy. And so the whole don't do alcohol typically is a it will just amplify that effect, which I say it's just cheaper. It's just
So according to the NHS, which is the UK, if you drink alcohol while taking that, may make you feel sleepy and unsteady on your feet. Drinking alcohol every day or in large amounts can make your symptoms worse. It also makes it harder for the meds to work properly.
yep, see. Cheap date. I don't drink every day, so we're probably fine on the rare occasions that I do sterilize some tomato juice. Um, I'll probably be all right. Which, by the way, if you use the scorpion Tabasco sauce, oh, so good. It really it makes the V8 come alive. Which, by the way, we don't have spicy V8 here. I have no idea what's wrong with Singapore, but it's why spicy V8 is awesome. That's a future Kevin problem. I like that. Random side note here. headphones are playing the Cars. I don't know if anybody else is a big fan of the Cars. I really always liked them. The other day, a song from them played, and I didn't realize, like, oh, it's Let the Good Times Roll. And somehow I did not remember how much good advice is actually in that song. It's it turns out that was way more powerful than I remember it, and having heard it again and really listening to it and being in a creative mood or whatever, sort of, it really hit. Like, wow. Actually, talking about the Cars, um, there was a movie back in the 80s. I've probably watched it 20 times at least. Um, it was called Made in Heaven, and Rick Ocasek from the Cars was in it, and Tom Petty from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers was in it. And that was a really great movie. And those cameos were really, really, really cleverly done because Rick Ocasek was a mechanic working on the, it's not really the hero, the main character. It was worked on his car. And then Tom Petty was there with a girl that ends up like breaking his heart or something. So it was really kind of neat. Yeah, no. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, Made in Heaven, it's very 80s. It's very very different, but basically dude dies like within the first minutes of the movie. Um Goes to heaven, meets a girl who was pretty much born in heaven. She's scheduled to go down. She goes to Earth. He makes a deal with the guy in charge to go and try to catch up with her. And the whole movie is him uh, trying, like I said, trying to meet up with the girl that he's supposed to be with. It's pretty wild, really super philosophically sort of thing. It was neat. It's a good movie. I can't name a single actor that's in it other than Rick Ocasek and Tom Petty. But I think there was another musician was in there too. I think that the truck driver was somebody famous. But yeah, it's not. No, it sounds. Yeah, I could see where it would sound like that, but it's really very not. To be honest, I really honestly think that came long before Hallmark made movies. Oh, we should. I can share another little bit of information. So while we were out here recently, We ended up like we went to the comics thing, and then afterwards we were wandering around, and our good friend there, Minute Craft, got us kind of into this new hobby of ours where we basically play with Legos, and we ended up wandering into a store, and I have what what drew you to I walked by that store 100 times. I never ever go into it. What did you see that made you wander
Which
in
one?
where we bought the new Legos?
The the cats.
What the fat tiger?
No, the 3D cats.
The Lego cats?
Mm.
Okay, so basically the company that of the thing that we bought. So we ended up just spending $75 to get a Lego set. But it's not like your regular Legos. This thing has little pieces that go down and you use like a screwdriver to turn it and lock the pieces in place so it doesn't come apart, which is like the coolest thing ever. I've never seen a Lego type setup like this. Like I said though, $75. It was not the bits aren't cheap, but they have some really cool stuff. I just realized another thing that I wasn't prepared for tonight. I I'm gonna need that little green thing that goes in the middle when we hook the two edges together, and I don't know where it is. I'm suddenly very confused. Well, like I've been saying, the last few days have been a little bit crazy with the whole going out and rechanging everything in OBS, and I still can't figure out where the stereo setting is. That's really got me perplexed. Hang on. Lucky for me, I kind of always leave things in the same sort of places, and I kind of know how I work, so I was able to find that easily. Yay me. Uh, So, Minute Craft, did you ever watch that 3-minute video? That actually came up at the shrink that I was spent 2 hours making a 3-minute video. It's kind of, I think, part of what kind of clued her in. Like, do you normally do that? No, no, no. I just had this really cool idea and da 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 da. That's kind of what clued her in that you're being manic. The funny thing is, if there was a physical way, like taking meds, doing whatever, exercising daily, something that made me manic all the time, I would probably do it. I love that feeling. You did. Was it cool? Did you like the special effects? Yeah, I was pretty excited about that. And there's some nuancy bits that you probably would never notice that to me made like all the difference in the world. So yeah, I went to some crazy lengths in doing that one. Cool. Yeah, and I definitely kind of wonder now, looking back at this whole thing, like all that special effects, all that effort, all that stuff, how much of that had to be because I was in a manic state of mind. Like it's that's I think the part that kind of bothers me the most is because it is sort of like it's not me. It's not like the normal me. So yeah. It's not like a bad thing. Like I said, if I could, I would do it all the time. But it always comes with like a really bad um side thing. It crashes. You can't stay manic. And when the crash happens, it's devastating and it takes away all of the benefits of how good you felt. It's basically it's all the opposite of how good I felt. I think that was the part that really kind of kicked me when she told me that that's what was happening. Was the I don't I don't want the other side of that. Well, we lost a bunch of viewers. Where's everybody going? Come back. Uh-oh.
Where'd they go?
I don't know, but to a girl some years ago about a new slide. Something happened to the tablet over here. Goes back to a girl I met some years ago who told me no lonely slide, but don't let go. Yeah, we're back to 5. So that's cool. Although we were... Wait. It says we have... Sometimes, I swear to God, they like to just try to mess with me. So there's 2 different sets of numbers on my screen. One says that there is 5 concurrent viewers, and in another that says there's 3. And my graph thing says there's 3. Well, it just dropped to 2 and then back to 3. I can't. Why is it try to be? It's trying to confuse me. So I try not to look at the numbers too much. I just get too frustrated. Oh man, speaking of crispy fries, while we were at that electronics show, we saw a new air fryer that has a rotisserie thing in it that is like a barrel cylinder that can rotate around. And we were like, wait, what does that do? And like the girl didn't know. And I turned to Mandy. I'm like, I bet you that would do French fries. And then like she asked the guy to come over, and she goes, what is that for? And he's like, oh yeah, it does French fries. I'm like, yeah. Really? Oh, man, those Hershey pies don't give me a coma. They give me like the whole zoomies. Speaking of zoomies, I'm having a hard time finding darn um, jelly beans. Been to a few grocery stores thinking Easter's around the corner. Where's the jelly beans? A little bit disappointed in not finding them. Although I've heard some things that there might be some at the Muji's. Yeah, I usually do the what do they call it? The meatless burger, the whatever, the plant-based burger.
Plant-based Whopper.
Plant-based Whopper. Yes, I like those. On a day out, I might actually have a burger with a milkshake for lunch, and then a Whopper and a Hershey pie for dinner. And when I say might, this is kind of like the norm thing. Yes.
I don't think Burger King uses Impossible.
No?
No. Because they would be required to actually state it as Impossible.
Right. So it's just improbable?
I got an ad.
Really?
Snoopy special edition leather goods.
The low probability Whopper. the, the unlikely Whopper. uh, oh man, speaking of bad puns, the whole day at the electronics show, I was off my game because I didn't take my morning meds. And so there was a Mandy who kept having a constant barrage of really bad ones. I saw a guy walk past. It started with, we're heading through the mall to head up to where the expo is above the mall. And I see a guy go by, and he's obviously just left the expo because he's got a trolley. And on the trolley, he's got a printer. And then he's also in his hand, he's carrying a bag full of other things, which I assume is, like printer inks and other things that went with the printer, which I then turned to Mandy and I told her that the accessories were probably cannon fodder. Yeah. And there was just endless amounts of just seeing various products and pointing out various word plays and puns and should really have logged all of them. There were so many like really bad ones. No, I want pizza and a Bloody Mary. Hey, lucky me. I have those things here. Yay. Oh my God, you are absolutely right. We, Minecraft, you have been missing. And as a result, like we may have touched upon food as a subject for a brief moment, but it kind of just, always fizzled out and didn't kind of go anywhere. And we were all like, yeah, it's just not the same without Minecraft here. And now you come back and yeah. Oh, and while we were out, Mandy and I had gotten talking about um, various stream stuff or whatever. So, like while we were at the expo, we saw the Insta 360 camera, which is an interesting thing. However, nobody at that like ran the booth knew the specs or any of the details that I would have been most interested in, such as like to be this kind of frame that we have right here, how far away would the camera have to be from me? And they had no idea. They couldn't help me at all. And I was like so disappointed because I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, the camera, this for seeing this used to have to be so close to me that I would almost be cross-eyed when trying to face and look at you guys and talk. And so, yeah, they're about $400. Um, but yeah, they couldn't answer the questions, and it really kind of bummed me out because it seems to me like that's the only kind of place I would ever be able to find those kind of answers is for somebody who actually works for that company. So they had no idea. Um, yeah, so then I wanted to tell Mandy about another alternative that I knew of. And so we wandered from Suntec all the way through to Funan, just so that way I could show her the Razor store. Get to the Razor store, get the camera up and going, and Home Slice that's working there has no idea how to activate the tracking part of it. And so the whole time it was just like, yeah, this has those kind of capabilities, but no. Yeah, well, I found various people reviewing the cameras and stuff, but nobody seems to answer the questions that I ask. And like having a GoPro that's pretty much shelved because of how close it has to be to me to do anything. It's like I don't want to buy another camera ever that that I don't know exactly how I would use it or what to do with it. So yeah, and half the time it's just about like see what it would be like. How is it interesting? Is it cool? Will it do things? Whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Still, it was it would have been nice to have known just out of curiosity. It would have been fun. Oh, and so there's another one that's just like the Insta 360. It's called it's spelled OBS bot, but I don't know if they meant if it's supposed to be called like Ozbot or if it's OBS bot. But either way, that thing is about half the price and actually has better video quality and has better tracking capabilities. So yeah, go figure. But didn't see them at the expo. Don't know why. Maybe that's why they're half as much is because they don't spend so much money hiring idiots that don't know how their stuff works to stand around at an expo. And mind you, the thing at the expo seemed like everybody knew everything about the the sports action cams or whatever you call the other little fiddly things, and that seemed to be all they were concentrating on, which again is like disappointing. Like you're supposed to be representing them. You should know. Well, the guy at the razor store should know how to work the camera. That don't get it. So I don't know if there's like a going to be like a set like how I go around this thing once we get past hooking all of the pieces together. Um, because the key part is I don't think I need to pull out GIMP and mark off areas that are done because it's not quite that complicated, but it's pretty darn close to it. You know, it's it's taking some effort on my part to make sure that I know kind of where I am and how far to carry out various rows. So yeah, it does make me a little bit nervous. All right, not bad. So now, basically, get all of the strings thrown into my lap, as if I wasn't warm enough as it is. And we go and start turning this thing around. So this is cool. We are now officially a cylinder here, which I don't know if you guys have noticed. Bunch of cylinder bracelets in the latest tutorials that I've been doing, including the Nemesis bracelet, which turned out wasn't as bad as I remembered. I mean, back when I did Mandy's bag, there was so many rows, and I was so I didn't want to just do a little bit and keep going around and around and around. So as a result, I was trying to work on areas, and I would get confused, and I'd have to undo a boatload of knots. And yeah, that whole thing was really really bad. But I finally got around to doing it as just a tube bracelet, and it turned out it wasn't so bad after all. Had this whole idea of how much I hated it worked up in my mind. And then I made it and it went good. So yeah. Good night, Minute Craft. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make more of the Nemesis. I actually did. You Wait, you're a member. You can see the videos. You can see there is another something Nemesis-ish. I don't know what day that comes out actually. Man, I didn't realize how far ahead in videos I am. Um, yeah, we're not far away from Nemesis again, so that's kind of cool. Wow. I wonder what the magazines themselves think of when somebody does a flip through video. Because that can go either way, right? Either people look at it and be like, meh. Ooh. The plural for nemesis. Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Nemesis? Baddies. Headaches. You think of a whole bunch of words for potential. How did Mandy not chime in with one? My wife is good with words, typically. Still can't figure out why I'm in mono. It's not supposed to be mono. I can't. I think I skipped a step when I was setting up audio. And for the life of me, I don't remember what that step would have been, obviously, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. But darn it, I don't understand. Oh no, honey, because we're in each mono in a different channel. If we could do the row your boat and like really be confusing to everybody. I love it. That's awesome. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll to the top. Nice. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Uh, wait, honey, am I in mono or stereo in via the Discord?
I'm not using a headset, I can't tell.
Oh. I was I was just thinking the other day when we tried the streaming settings when I first got the OBS kind of running. Like maybe you were listening via Discord, but yeah, if you don't have headphones on your little laptop, you wouldn't be able to tell if I was either one side or two. That makes sense. Okay. So basically, what comes down to is I can't monitor myself because if I do, you'll hear me more than once because my speakers will pick it up. So I have no idea. I don't get to hear any of that. So that's where till you guys told me, I don't know. Wow. I have yet to see any ads like that. But then again, maybe it's because I'm in Singapore where like they really just don't have drugs. So but nothing like the stuff that grandma used to make. Yeah, it's very an American thing, and yeah. Hey, Robert. Hello. Good morning, I guess. I think for you. Yeah, I don't understand how things like fentanyl are so available in America, considering how potentially dangerous it is. I don't like. There's just something fundamentally wrong in the whole equation of how much is available versus like how much supposedly everybody's trying to put a stop to it. I don't get the. times roll. Let them kick you around. Let the good times roll. A clown. Let them leave you up in the air. Let them brush your rock and roll hands. Let the good times roll. Yeah, I don't think they advertise fentanyl in the States. I think the only thing that you get are the whole, like, this stuff's bad, keep it away from your kids. Like, kind of the opposite of advertising, except for, I don't know, maybe it does help advertise, make kids be like, ooh, that sounds, you know. So, wait, so if it's all coming in from Mexico, it seems like once upon a time they had put pretty much a stop to like marijuana coming from Mexico. It seems to me like there's more to it. Plus, what is it made from? Like, where are they getting that? Like, that seems because it's like a prescription thing, right? It's not like it's not like ecstasy or something where it's made in um just weird little batches or whatever in people's, basement or whatever. I had a friend who died from Vicodin. Um, just basically got pretty hooked on the stuff, was taking several a day until it just was too much. Right. But it's not. So the opioids though isn't something that like gets grown in Mexico. Like the whole meth thing kind of makes sense on this side of the world because one of the main ingredients actually comes from Southeast Asia. Um, how the U.S. gets so much of it and ends up like that, I have no idea. But I know like the main ingredients comes from like kind of towards like Thailand, Myanmar, those areas, like somewhere in that direction. Yeah, that part I don't doubt at all. Having doctors over, I went to a doctor once and was like, "Look, my back is killing me. I finally used up the last of my Vicodin. I need some help." And he's like, "All right, let me just take a look here." And he's like, "Wait, the last time we prescribed you Vicodin was almost a year ago." And I'm like, "Yeah, I only ever take it if I actually need it." And he's like, "Really? Oh." And then proceeded to prescribe me 90 tablets. Like, unbelievable. Like, "Oh, you're not addicted. Here, you can have a whole buttload." So I had Vicodin for ages. Oh wow. That's kind of grim. Oh man, I remember I had hurt my back at work, and one of the guys at work passed me something that was supposed to be a substitute to morphine. If I remember the name right, I think it was called Talwin. It was a little yellow pill, just a teeny tiny little thing. Man, did those things make me feel awesome and young and wow. Yeah, that stuff was wow. And it's funny, it's super hard to get a prescription for those. They totally work fantastic. They're not addictive. Doctors just don't pass that one out. They'll give you a Vicodin, but yeah, it's hard to say, man. There are, and worst cases is no matter what the whole epidemic is caused from, nobody's ever going to be really properly honest with it. You'll never know where the money's really going. You'll never know how much is making its way to the politicians or anything. What was the thing we just saw the other day, honey, where I had to send it to you because it felt like an only in America could that be a thing? Um, Weird money in politics. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have all your wisdom teeth taken out at the same time? I think they took mine out the rights and then the lefts so as to not try to mess me all up at once. Yeah, pain meds tend to kind of frighten me because of the notion that, like, for me, most of the time I ever took pain meds was because of my back. And the thing that bothered me the most was this notion that I could feel really, really good in the moment because of the medication, which could then lead me to doing something very foolish and cause me to be even more incapacitated further along, down the road. And so, yeah, I became very weary of things like that. Like, I never wanted to make the problem get worse. Um, yeah, just terrifying. Wow. Yeah, they didn't knock me out at all for mine. Mind you, I had mine done in the Navy. So a lot less they don't care if you're in pain, really. All I all I remember the most of the whole thing was the fact that they sent me back to the barracks and let me sleep, which was fantastic because the whole of boot camp felt like they were trying to make you sleep deprived. And yeah, I actually caught up on a little bit of sleep during that, you know, recovery thing. Ooh. I'm confused. Yeah, I mentioned the fact that this was going to get a little confusing, right? Um, trying to find where this little diamond was suddenly left me going, wait, what? It's this little area here is this area right here. And then when you go home with the gauze and stuff, making it even worse. Yeah. Listen, baby, you can hear the engine roll. We've been up and down this highway. Seen the goddamn thing. Doctor, I think I'm gonna cry. Doctor say he's coming, but you gotta pay me. It's because you only had the one brain cell. To take away any wisdom, what will you be left with? So now I'm going to try to add the same bit that we just added over here. Okay, that reminds me of what a kind of an idiot I am. I had my wisdom teeth pulled. I was starving when I came out of there. I'm all doped up. I'm trying to spit, and it's like because I can't, feel my face. And I ate pizza because that was just available, and I had pizza with, trying to not swallow gauzes and can't feel my face. I remember being told later like that was a dumb move. But I was like, I was hungry. What was I supposed to do? Like hadn't thought any of it through. The the Nemesis one. I'm guessing that's Robert has discovered the Nemesis video. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I'm not really good at thumbnails. I need to work on getting better at that. I think I could maybe grow the channel a bit more if I got better at that aspect. I just realized I could have actually have been made this whole live stream um a also a the vertical live stream. That could have been fun. Oh, this thumbnail. I thought he was talking about my video's thumbnail. Yes, it does match Robert's. The literal thumbnail. Yeah, I'm a little slow. Yes. Sorry, I'm so video orientated that I forget sometimes that I have a smiley face here. Yeah, no. So this is kind of working out kind of cool. Like, mind you, I'm probably gonna take a bit more time if we're just gonna do little segments and like rotate in little segments and rotate because if with basically when you do segment knotting, the whole premise is to be able to work in one area effectively. But I think doing this in little chunks is going to help with making sure that I don't get too far ahead or do weird things in the pattern that might be a problem later on. So that's kind of cool. Um, so most of the time when I'm doing the videos where you see me making something, it's all sped up. And that's why you probably don't see my hands is because there's a whole lot of motion and stuff going on. So it's only It's only during the live streams or if you're watching the behind the scenes stuff that you actually get to see much of my hands. Um, it's I don't do it kind of deliberately. It's just I think it's better to be focused at where the work is as opposed to all the hand motion. Plus, um, I have heard people saying that they wanted to see more of like how I'm holding strings and whatever. And my fear in that is if people try to mimic my hand motions, it might not be the best thing for them. My way of dealing and moving with the strings is based on what's comfortable to me. I know of people who can do the macrame, the I don't know what it's called. They're like square knots where you have like four strands. You got two that run down the middle, and then the other two sort of do square knots over it. I know people who can do that, and by just they have one clip at the top and they hold the strings and they just do the work. I cannot do that. I physically cannot do that. My hands can't contort to do all those motions at once. I have to have it clamped at the top, and then the two strings that stay still are clamped at the bottom, and then I can crank at it like nobody's business. But that's the only way I can physically do it. And I feel that people should develop how they deal with the knots based on being comfortable. If you start having shoulder pain doing bracelets, you probably shouldn't do bracelets. It's just okay, am I untwisting the strings when you reach back after you're not, or are you keeping them separated? Okay, I don't think I have the brain cell yet, um, because I can't. When I reach back after I knot, when I reach up like this, I just kind of fling it. I don't know what I'm keeping them separate. I am so terribly lost. I'm so sorry. I don't understand the question at all. And I'm not sure if I'm just being really stupid here, but I don't understand at all. I'm and I'm not sure that Mandy can help me because she doesn't do any of the nodding, so she might not actually understand it either. I'm so Yeah, so in that motion, okay, so as I bring the strings out, um I don't do anything really. I just kind of they just get flung off to the sides or um well, okay, hang on. Give me a second. I'll try to I don't think I can zoom out. I know, right? Quit hogging the brain cells over here. Jeez. Hang on, let me get this set up. Yeah, but it was all wet and soggy.
Ew.
Ew. All right, let's see. It's probably just off wandering around by itself. Poor thing, so small and alone. All right, so I make my knot, pull it through, make my knot, pull it through, and then yeah, I guess I kind of maybe direct it into the rest of the pack of the area, because I really only keep the strings that I'm going to be working with like near me. So let's see how this goes. So this one, I kind of dropping it in with this group because I'm going to need it again in a couple seconds, but hang on. Stepped out for a beer. Mandy has said in the past that she feels that she can read my mind, which I told her is impossible because it's so small that that's not likely. So when I got done with this one, like I'm kind of chucking it off with that group. I guess, as I finish. Wait, I'm missing a brown one here. There it is. I mean, I don't know. I think everything I do is such a reflex, and I don't necessarily even have thoughts about any of it anymore. Like I can look at you guys. I look down, see which strings I'm grabbing, like make sure I grab the right ones, and then I can look up and then I can just go through the motions. I don't have to see any of it. It's all just reflexes. Oh man. So there was a post on Facebook in a 80s group, and half the stuff in there I absolutely love it. I think it's hilarious. And somebody had mentioned putting the cassette tape of Motley Crue Shout at the Devil into a Teddy Ruxpin because it would be hilarious. And so I started quoting the first thing that's actually on that album, which was the song called In the Beginning, which basically starts out in the beginning, good always overpowered the evils of all man's sins. But in time, the nations grew weak and our cities fell to slum while evil stood strong. So I put this in there as my comment. And I got these weirdos like nobody cares and um a puzzled look and something like they just kind of lashed out at me. And like I had to comment back like, look, that's actually on the album. This is what comes before the actual song "Shout at the Devil." Like, I didn't make any sense to me, and like some other people joined in. Like, obviously they've never listened to the album, and that they hit you pretty hard there, guy. Are you all right? Like, I was like, what the heck? But yeah, like younger generations trying to be cool with the '80s stuff. Like I had that album. I know darn well how that whole thing started. Well, I didn't have the album. I think I had the cassette, but played the hell out of it. uh, yeah, my wife is really good at kind of knowing my mind. I don't know how. She's the only person who's ever really properly understood me. Yeah, I don't think I was quite old enough for the 70s to be truly turbulent, but the 80s, boy, the 80s got me. 70s were all cartoons and Brady Bunch and stuff. 80s were Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and Cinderella and Def Leppard and so yeah, I don't get a lot of tangling, but I think a lot of that comes from in my early bracelet making days, I was doing a lot of this outdoors, and I had to get kind of good about how I kept things in groups. And you'll notice my version of segment knotting typically, if I'm on the right hand side, I stay to the right. If I, um, and that came from that era because if you're over here and you just got done sorting these strings because everything was blowing in the wind, then you wanted to stay to that side because those were the ones that you didn't have to mess with. Like if you go to the other side and then you have to come back to this, now you have to undo all those strings from how they got blown around. So there were certain things from that era, and it I only kind of realized this not that long ago as to why I do some of the things that I do. But yeah, I used to um, go down to concerts down at Hart Plaza in Detroit and make bracelets and try to sell them while I was down there. And it was sort of a cool way because on the weekends it was like $1 to go from Pontiac down to Detroit. And as long as I sold a couple bracelets, I basically had my bus fare and some food. And most of the time, I could talk somebody into buying a bracelet. Basically, if they stopped to talk to me, um, yeah, I could talk to them long enough to they would just buy something cool. And I would always have like a complete variety from like some really ugly ones to some really pretty ones, which turns out if you have ugly ones that are just same price as the pretty ones sell faster. And somebody always likes the ugly ones. And they're like, wow, I've never seen one like this before. I'll take that. So yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say what you could be doing wrong. I'm like trying to envision like what are the possibilities and stuff. I mean, so there's you might notice as I'm doing a lot of the tossing the strings around and stuff, um, because when you pull it around through here, you could get them kind of twisted. So I try to um, make sure that as it comes out, like any spin to it is removed. Yes, there are some that can be really super ugly, particularly color wise. Certain colors just don't really play well together. Um, but then again, there'll always be that person that likes that kind of thing. Again, mostly it's ugly colors, colors that don't play well. One, two, one, two. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Is that like is that a form of a zigzag or is that an actual pattern number? Oh. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Is it like I made a version that's actually super easier than that, right? Is that that one? The one where oh, I don't know what it's called. Yeah. Yeah. No, those aren't fun. See, for me, like there's so many amazing things that you can do even just with only two knots. Like why you got to try to make it harder than it needs to be. Like this one does have some zigzags, but it's not every single one. It's here and there, and it's like placed nicely to where it's there and it does an effect. It's not like just I don't know. And it's plenty hard enough. This is definitely got some curveballs in it, and it looks gorgeous. Like there's no need to make bracelets so darn difficult. And the buyers typically never get it anyways. Like the super difficult ones, they don't understand why it's priced, so much more than another one that looks just as pretty that wasn't so darn hard. So why put yourself through it? Uh, but there's an alternative if you don't like the alphas, but you want to have things written in it or whatever. The example, you can go diagonally, and it turns out really cool. Right? These are actually taken off of the 8-bit from the game itself. So like there was two positions for this guy where the legs were like this and like this and like wah, 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 wah. And this guy's the same. And this guy. And I put the score at all nines because once upon a time, um, back in the Atari days, I rolled the game. And by rolling it, I mean played it so long. So, basically you end up the last level just repeats itself endlessly. And once you get good enough that you can beat that, you can keep playing it until all the numbers roll back to zero. So, yeah, huge achievement for me as a teenager. That and Chopper Command were the two games I could do. Oh, and Missile Command. I passed an alpha project of mine off to Minute Craft a while back. It was a bag that I was making. Started out with like a whole spirally thing down at the bottom of it, got pretty big around, got up about, I don't know, yay tall with it, and then just stopped because it was making me crazy because it took so long to get one round around it. Plus, I didn't quite figure out what I was going to do at the top of it, having started from the bottom and trying to work my way upwards. I'm like, I just didn't like any possible potential endings for it, so I just forget it. Let somebody else do it. Yeah, it definitely sucks when you really want to make a thing and it's just so painful that you end up giving up on it. But I understand. All right, so now we can move into a slightly different area. Okay. Yeah, that one. That one's a doozy. But if you get in the right rhythm, I guess you'll get through it. I mean, I've made some pretty crazy stuff where at some point or another I questioned my sanity for trying to take on something so complex, and then somewhere along the lines it just got done. And that wasn't just like a one-off thing. Like I've got three pillows, a giant wall hanging, little bags around here all over the place, big bags. I really do try to not have many projects all going at once. Um, Part of me gets a little bit freaked out at the notion of not keeping track of intentions and things. Like, there was a little while where Mandy had made up a number of kumis for me for projects that I was going to make. And then for some odd reason, I couldn't find the pattern that went to it. And suddenly I've got like really weird color combinations that I just don't know what they were meant to do. Is it seriously 2 years? Because I thought you were just at like 10% or something. That seems, I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not really good at math. Literally just had a thing here recently where um, I worked on a pattern and thought that I only had the strings to do it in single stranded, and then got ready to make it and realized that the string I already gave Mandy was enough to be doubled up. And so then I had to go and alter the pattern, and just all kinds of headache for something that seems like it should have been really simple. Okay, I'm missing the an understanding of the word that began with a C there, Robert. What's that? So
Like
eight.
a gemstone,
Oh, okay.
like wrapping your gemstone.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Robert, wait. If you can wrap gemstones, maybe you could actually build the one thing that I've always wanted to see out of people that have done wrapping gemstones, right? So I have seen where people made these amazing big fat necklaces where it's got 2, 3 stones in it, right? Super, super cool. Way back in the day, I played around with, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but there's like these little baubles of glass that um, basically I think people toss them into like planters and stuff, and they're like different colors. I bought a bunch of different colors of these things, and I took the silver tape and I wrapped it around it. And they're just like, they're sort of flat-ish and round, made out of glass. I don't know how where they come from, what they're actually sold as or whatever, but bought a bunch of these, bunch of different colors. Like I said, wrapped it with silver tape and then soldered them together. And I put it, our front door had a window that was probably about that wide and kind of tall. And I fitted all these little pieces of glass into that window, and when the sunlight came through it, it was stunning. It was amazing. And then I realized that seeing these stones that get wrapped, there's a lot of stones that are translucent, basically, meaning that light would shine through it. And if you wrap the stones and you made something kind of like the old curtain size, the what do you call the pull down ones, the ones that used to you let go, and like that kind of size of just stones in a window, because stones have their own imperfections and they have their own whatevers. With the right kind of color combinations or whatever, that could be incredibly stunning. So yeah, I mean, if you get bored and you really want to spend a crazy amount of money, I think it would be an amazing project. Always something I thought would be fun for macrame. I don't know how to do the stone thing. Like do some of the geode ones. Yeah, it could be pretty cool. Oh, and the funny thing too was, way back when I soldered all those pieces, those little baubles together, my my sister had been into doing um, the stained glass stuff for a while, and she was insistent that you don't just play around with this random stuff, these stones that's too complicated, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, but that's what I want to try. If I'm interested in it, I'm more inclined to, do the thing and whatever. And so I went ahead and I did it. And when she saw what came of it, she's just kind of blown away. She's just like, wait, you did that? Like, yeah. Like, just couldn't she couldn't quite wrap her head around the notion that here's this guy who's never done stained glass before, and I just went and put all these little bottles together. So yeah, fun times. Mind you, she was kind of the person that follows the patterns only, like can't can't veer away from that sort of thing. You just, I definitely like, for my own sanity reasons, the fact that most of all of this pattern, everything is going in the same directions, and that's super, super helpful in the sense that I'm not having to get myself confused on one's going to the right and one's going to the left and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I learned a lot about like making patterns from doing just that. I would kind of go completely random and then try to work like get to the middle point and then try to work it back the other direction, try to figure out like what I had done earlier, which taught me two things. One, how to kind of do symmetry, and two, how to work out a pattern by looking at something that was already done, because there was no way I could remember all of the different moves. Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, because once you start to understand and you start to see the patterns, like the whole one of the big things that I hope that people will get by actually playing with the like making the patterns like this thing down at, that like I'm working from. Wait, go back to this. So this thing that I'm working from, if you map something like that out, not only are you giving yourself the chance of having a pattern, but you're seeing all of the underlying strings and you will start to make the connections in your mind of how that all works and how the pieces can come together and how you can change a thing here or there or how you can make it bigger, all kinds of things start to become possible. Even like a lot of the stuff I can potentially do in my head. Um, but there are times like the whole graph paper came because I couldn't necessarily do it all. And most of the time, what I needed most was to know what the order was for the strings at the very start of the bracelet. And this, I think, basically came from arrowheads, where how I would start an arrowhead early on was I would just bring them in, line them all up in the order of the rainbow, bring them in, and then the last one would start to go in the arrowhead and it would build off of that. But I eventually wanted to be able to start it with the actual first three knots being the first of the diamonds, and then to work out the string order had to have the graph paper, and regular graph paper wasn't doing it for me. So I set and I took a fine point marker and I made that graph paper that you see out of regular graph paper that you buy. And rather than having to draw it out every single time, I took it and got it Xeroxed. And then I was able to work out patterns off of those Xerox copies. And that's how it all kind of started. And back then, I mean, like I'm using colored pencils. So if you make a mistake, you really kind of had to start over because color pencils don't erase very well. So that was like, there was all kinds of like difficulties in the very early days of me trying to do all this stuff because, you know, home computers and stuff weren't even a thing yet. Right. Yeah, I just did a pattern that I'm really kind of looking forward to. I created a 16 color arrowhead and I then had to make other pieces for this 16 color arrowhead, and it gets super crazy, super bizarre. That video that I was talking about earlier, where I spent 2 hours to make a 3-minute video, was about how you could interchange the four different pieces of that pattern and move them around and end up with different combinations. It's still kind of the same, but each one of them was very, very different, and it makes for some really fun visuals in the video itself. But it's the bracelet thing is going to be spectacular. It's going to be a bag. Um, yeah, I don't know when we'll get around to doing it. Um, Basically, it comes after all the rest of these bags, but yeah, lots of fun stuff coming around. All right. So I kind of like how these things are coming along. These are kind of cool. Yeah, so this week is going to be, man, there's just so much stuff I have planned to work on. I'm I'm so excited about so many of these projects. There's just so much cool stuff going on over here. Um, and again, I'll be live streaming. I'm taking Wednesday and Friday. Oh, I did. Oh man, I got to redo the schedule. It's supposed to be Wednesday and Friday. I got to redo that. Okay. I was in a hurry earlier. I was asking Mandy what days and stuff, and then I forgot to actually finish it right. So yeah, I'll fix that later. Anyway, Wednesday and Friday off. Other days I will be streaming, and like tomorrow, I think I have two bracelets to make. So I'll probably be watching my show and tying knots, and I think I just tossed a bunch of stuff in the to-do list that goes along with it. I don't remember what all. So many things. I have a feeling I'm going to run just a little bit longer tonight. Only, and this, I know this is going to seem silly, but um, I don't want to end it where it's uneven. I want to finish out this little thing that I'm doing around here, and there's one more besides this, so it won't take me long. Just affection to love. There she goes again. Skies. Here she comes again. My best friend's girl. She's my best friend's girl. She used to be mine. Ding, 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 ding. So The stranger part about the fact that I'm in mono and the fact that Mandy's in the other channel is, first off, it's kind of weird that I ended up in a mono channel to begin with, and that I didn't try to be the right or the left channel. I think looking at the meter, it looks like I'm the left. But then how did Mandy end up in the separate channel? It doesn't, it doesn't compute. Like something, I just don't get what went wrong. Like, that's gonna be like the first thing I do after the stream is figure out the sound, because I don't want to record videos with it like this. Okay, one more little spiral. We can call it a night. So overall, I'd have to say that this was a lot of progress for one evening. Kinda. Very, very pleased with myself. Heck yeah. I don't know if you know this, but Mandy's a huge fan of a bunch of Korean shows. She watches tons of the Netflix ones. Because every time I turn around, there's dudes with weird freaking hats that are sort of.
Every time?
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of times. I can't keep up with the number of times dudes are wearing those weird friggin' hats. Yeah, we're a bit of a night owl as well. In fact, when I went to see the shrink the other day, I was showing her the app, showing her that my new watch talks about my sleep habits and like how well I've been sleeping. And she like looked at it. She goes, "Wait, this says you got up at 1 p.m." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Really? What?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like that's not a mistake. My watch is not broken. It's not in a different time zone. Yes, I wake up in the afternoon. What was that show that you were watching with the old man that was doing the ballet thing that you got so hooked on that got me curious, but then I did not want to watch it? Every once in a while, man, you'll have one on that's like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Nope, not catching me on that. All right, guys. I am going to call it a night there. We have it all the way the same all the way around. It's all pretty well joined and awesome and stuff. So there we go. Nothing too crazy going on this week other than, like I said, I'm off Wednesdays and Friday, and that I will be working hard to try to get a bunch of stuff in, including some ideas of stuff that I've been kind of wanting to play with. And yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff to talk about. So, anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for making tonight a lot of fun. And before I go, I want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members for making all this stuff possible. Um, go through a lot of string around here, and yeah, you guys keep that going for me. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.